So that means it's time to say welcome to Horsin Around, a dumbass cast. I'm your host, as always, Nick Mercadante, and with me today I have three lovely guests. If you would like to introduce yourselves.
Hi, I'm the token Hispanic Fernando. Nice to meet you.
I'm Jack.
I'm the token white Jacob.
Hold on a second. That doesn't add up.
What's Nick and I?
Well, you're the regular.
We're just
I'm
regular
the
white people.
token
Okay.
one, and you're
That's
just
fair.
regular characters.
Oh man. Anyways, how's it going, guys? How's your week been?
It's a
We had a
week.
week.
It's going.
Yeah. Good to hear. Glad that it's been a week that's been going.
I
What
got that
happened?
Poggers school.
Yeah, how's school been? New semester, right?
Yeah, last one for me, and it's just basically garbage class. I'm carrying an entire team class, and it's also my capstone and
Oh.
garbage class.
Oh, so you decided to pivot to garbage man, is what you're saying?
Yes.
He is the trash man.
It was a difficult decision to make, but I saw the benefits that come included with sanitation, and I just couldn't resist.
Do garbage men get paid well?
Yes.
Yes, they get paid very well.
It's almost like you need to pay people and incentivize the wage in order to
literally pick up garbage.
Yeah. Also, the mafia money helps, but
Also, you do unless it is a privately owned trash collection business, in which I get upset. A lot of garbage men work for a city, and when you work actually within government,
nice
typically
benefits.
you get the nice benefits. Sometimes you're not paid as highly as if it was private, but
Yeah.
as someone who works adjacent to government, even though I'm not currently technically in government, I'm like, yes, I love experiencing the benefits of having workers' rights.
What
It
a
is,
concept.
as the kids say, pretty epic.
If you're not crunching, though, are you really working?
I mean, the answer
Who's
is
to
yes.
say?
As someone who does not, it's crazy. I don't know what culture this crazy white collar workers out there have devised for themselves, where they're like I'll get a message at 3 a.m, be like, "Hey, I did some more work," and I'm like, "No, stop, stop
Go to
working.
sleep.
I have been off the clock since I ended my shift. That is how. This is the agreement I signed with all of you.
Oh, yeah.
That's how work is supposed to work.
I work my hours and then I go home and I'm done with work.
Yeah.
Work does not exist in the home,
Concept.
except for when I work from home,
But
which was actually pretty
then
nice this week.
you don't get this cool beeper, bro. If you're not getting beeped, are you even cool?
Do you work at a place where they gave you a beeper?
I worked at a place that they used to have beepers, and some of them had the relics of beepers on their desk for the meme.
Very cursed. I got a whole ass different phone last summer.
Damn.
Fucked up.
Where did you go last summer?
Facebook.
Yeah, that would do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
You got the Zuck money. You get the phone.
Were you the one that was pushing all the fake news, bro?
Yeah,
Jack personally
was myself actually.
He curated it. He made sure only the best fake news made it out to public eyes.
Jack was actually the one they sent out to find every suburban aunt in the world to.
I logged into the accounts of middle-aged white women and shared all of the articles.
Really doing the Lord's work out there.
I know I should
Wait,
say it
honestly, is Jack just QAnon?
Yes. It's him.
I mean, with that fucking beard, yeah.
What were you saying, Jacob?
I don't know. Recently there have been a lot of hey, we interviewed this person who is no longer a part of follows QAnon, but was really deep into it, and I don't know. I understand. Yes, I am glad that they have come back here, but also sometimes it's very funny where they're like, I don't understand.
Yeah.
I don't understand. What do you mean Biden got inaugurated? And I was like, yeah, I don't know.
What do you mean the whole system is still functioning?
What expected to happen was a secret military coup that installed Trump as dictator, but come on, tether your expectations a little bit.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Do you think like there was an actual like noticeable departure of people when that didn't happen, where they were just like, wait,
I mean,
what?
it's what they've been talking about this entire time, where you either when something comes to fail to when something doesn't come to fruition and the quote unquote prophecy fails, you have one of two reactions, and you don't know how strong the reaction of that group will be in either direction. You have one reaction which says, well, I've got egg on my face. I should probably reevaluate my life choices.
Haha, it was me, the fool.
And then you have the other one, which is like, yes, the long Kong. How could I be so simple?
It was a double, triple ruse. How
exactly.
could I be a fool?
It's literally the he must have been a quadruple agent the entire time. And that's basically it. Is you don't really know which one of these more people will fall down. I mean, a great example is ironically enough 2012, where a bunch of people were like, the world's gonna end, and when it didn't end,
unfortunately,
some people, very unfortunate, some people were like, oh, all right, and then we're like, I guess I really got swept up in that oops. And then there are other people who are like, you don't understand. Like
I heard a lot of people were like, oh no, it was actually like a rounding error or something. They actually meant
they'll find an excuse for them to not be wrong, and that it's actually just a part of a bigger thing that they were too
you either fold or you double down. That seems to be what this breaks down
to. I like the
to.
theory that the rapture actually did happen, just nobody got raptured.
I think I've talked about this on a previous episode of this podcast, but there's a great Nicolas Cage movie called like I don't know. I can't. It's about the rapture, basically.
It's fine. We understand. There's no good Nick Cage movies.
You shut your dirty whore mouth.
Left Behind.
Left Behind. Thank you. I know
God,
something
I've seen this
like
movie.
This. But it's about the rapture, and it's about they try making it seem like, oh, this is so bad, like so many parts of society are failing. But when you watch the movie, it feels more like a mild inconvenience that some of these people have disappeared. You're just like,
oh.
My Christian limo driver, where'd he go? And then you're like, all right, I get, because there's so fucking tons of people around. You're like, okay, I guess things are still fine.
What was the budget for this movie? Because this poster does not look very high budget.
$13 million.
Oh man.
I mean, it's high enough for you to say, I can't believe that movie spent all that money on something that looks terrible, but probably not high enough for you to be like, they clearly didn't have enough money to bail themselves out when this was going downhill.
It's got a fucking Rotten Tomato score of 1%. Wow. This must have been
That's not bad.
I mean, it's a bad movie.
Quite the sinker. Holy shit. Wait, so is it supposed to be just like you mentioned that it's only the Christian people that got raptured because
that is how the rapture.
Right. I understand, but so is it supposed to be like a religious movie where they're trying to push you to become Christian? Like, is it one of those fucking Christian movies?
I don't know. It's one of those movies that's definitely like, oh, if only these people were good. I mean, but I can't even tell if that's the message. It just feels like, hey, wouldn't it be weird if the rapture happened?
Yeah, that would be pretty weird.
And only Christians got deleted.
I
mean, honestly, I feel like society would still go on.
Entertainment One, which is an actual production company, so like, I can't even tell. I mean, Left Behind is like an actual is like an actual book. And it's explicitly a religious novel.
I would imagine, yeah.
I mean, I'm still waiting for Ragnarok. When are we gonna have a sick wolf fight with a beard?
Oh,
I mean, that's
fuck
what
yeah.
makes me upset. Is like come on, like
So many cooler apocalypses.
all these quote unquote
Yeah,
pagan
Rapture's so
religions,
boring. Where's my fucking epic wolf god fight?
dude.
I'm sorry that fucking God in heaven decided to not make the most epic apocalypse ever with the Rapture.
I won't lie.
Sorry.
Come on, man. Like,
Are so
if we don't have an epic battle of cataclysmic level, are we really having an apocalypse, or is this just everyone get in line to heaven time?
there's a Mesopotamian. As someone who really loves history, I've spent many a time period learning about like ancient religions, but also I learned about this one just like in history class one time. There's like an ancient Mesopotamian religion where they're like, oh yeah, we believe in an afterlife, but it's like your soul just gets sent to the middle of the desert and you just kind of stand there for all eternity. And I'm like, wow, those Mesopotamians are wild, dude. Like, why can't we have cool shit like that? Like,
That's not
Yeah,
cool
there-
shit, Jacob.
There's a lot of interesting versions of hell.
yeah, there's so many cool like Nick, you've been playing Hades, which is the best version of hell, but like
Yeah.
like that's the thing is like.
At least in Hades, there's like
Christians are
it's
so
like the tier
unoriginal.
system, and then it's like
Yeah.
like
do like
some
the
of
tier
them are
system.
actually pretty chill, but then other ones are bad. Like
It's
you
like-
got
Also, like the punishments are so creative.
Yeah.
Like
Mhm.
like Sisyphus having to fucking push a rock his entire life.
Well, but that's where the downside of Greek hell comes into place is that you have to deal with the pettiness of the gods.
yeah.
Which is
If
like-
you
Well, like Sisyphus literally was like, "Yo, let me try to serve my son soup to the gods."
My child.
dude,
So,
imagine
Fucker.
Did you forget about the part in the Bible where God was like, "Yo, Abraham, here's a cool idea. Why don't you brought your son up to the top of this mountain and fucking killed him for me?" And they were
Right.
like,
Yeah,
"Whatever
God's
you
a
need."
weirdo. God's like, "Yo, you do this sick shit, this sick stunt, yo, you're going to heaven, bro."
Yeah, and then he's almost about to fucking kill his son, and Law's like, "Yo, dude, it was just a prank."
I wonder, I wonder if that plays
I love how
into
God also is like, "Yo, bro, let's get into a bet right now. Yo, devil, let's get into a bet right now. My boy right here, he'll totally stay faithful, even if I fuck up his entire family and life."
It's so as someone who grew up raised Christian and is no longer looking back on it's hilarious. Like I find the Bible itself like fucking wild because of the dichotomy between Old Testament God and New Testament God, where Old Testament God's like a fucking straight up like
Old Testament
baller, and he's
God
just
was
"I'll fight anyone in my path."
Old Testament God had like millions in the body count of people who just smote out of existence.
Well,
Whereas the devil maybe killed like one person, I think, two.
You guys complain about the fucking rapture apocalypse. He did, God did make a much cooler apocalypse called the Great Flood, where he just told this one family, hey, pack your shit, gather all the animals, I'm fucking resetting everything.
I mean, God basically got halfway through building his Sim City, and he was like, this one's not going to work. All right, I'm just going to wipe this one off the net. We're going to...
My thing, though, is like, basically, in both like Adam and Eve and then the Great Flood, where it's only one family, like basically he's like, yo, incest is wincest, because where is the other people coming from for this?
Well, isn't there like amendums to that story where they're like, actually some people snuck aboard and so they weren't technically, although they still had to commit incest at some point with only like, even if it was just two families.
Well, so like also Adam and Eve, like, okay, you had your first generation, and then who's the second generation gonna fuck?
I mean, eventually, well, that's why Cain and Abel were so fucked up. They were like, "Yo, your mom is my mom." Whoa.
And she's like the only woman around. That's crazy.
This actually ties into a topic that I put up a while ago, but we never got around to because last week we were too obsessed with stonks. Do you, if you found out that you and your partner both shared Genghis Khan as a common ancestor, would you feel weird about it? Because Genghis
basically, I mean,
for like millions of Asian people worldwide, Nick.
Yeah,
this is just how that shit works.
Yeah,
also, at this point,
so far off, and B, you could be from different mothers.
Yeah,
and not technically, very easily.
Like Nick, at this point, the the difference in like your heritage has to be so fucking far gone that there's no going to be an issue. Like that's not even incest at that point. That's just a different human entirely.
What? So, all right. Well, see, now you raise another question. When does it become incest?
I take it all the way to the top.
There is like a scientific definition of this. Like I think it's like that. By the time you get to your third cousin, it's like genetically different enough where you wouldn't expect mutation.
Nando, I thought it was the boundaries of what incest is very thoroughly, Nick. Come on.
I've done a lot of research on this topic for scientific purposes.
Bro, with the amount of dumb fuck shit that goes on in CSH, this topic has come up already 50 times, bro. This is just a stat that's been thrown out at this point 100 times in our dumbass organization.
I hate that I can't.
And this one I have to do the equivalent of this is not legal advice where I say this is not a podcast associated with the computer science.
Yeah, man, remember when I wanted to be a podcast associated with Computer Science House?
Remember when terrible idea. Told you that was a bad idea?
Yeah.
Do appreciate that advice. That was pretty good advice, I would say. Yeah, there's yeah, I guess if it's not causing mutations, but like, I don't know. If you, I think personally, like on a cultural level, like if I see you at a family reunion, that's too close.
Like, yeah, that's understandable.
Fair.
Yeah, but like even with if you do it just once, I think the risk of the increased death rate is still pretty low.
Well, yeah,
the issue comes across when you have like multiple generations.
Right. Yeah, it wasn't a problem the first time all the European rulers decided to just keep it in the family. It's when they just kept doing that for 5 generations, and they ended up with like, oh god, who's that one guy who looks super fucked
up? The Spanish king or whatever.
Yeah, fuck,
idiot.
Spanish.
Yeah, I mean, when it turns out when you have 0 genetic diversity, you can't defend yourself against petty things like kidney failure or fucking massive mutation. Who knows? Who knew?
This guy. Fuck, I just pulled it up on screen.
As someone who's played a bunch of CK3 and CK, sometimes it just happens.
It just happens.
You make the best line, and a couple cousins get.
Listen, I've been playing CK.
Have to kill a kid.
Listen, I've been playing CK3, and my son, his only chance at continuing the lineage was to bang his mom. And, things just happen. You gotta keep the lineage going.
It's not just like mom has one of the best stat sheets in the entire game. Like,
yeah,
you made that happen. I'm gonna have a profit of that. Like,
you make it okay by banishing him to an island for several years and waiting for him to come back and kill you and fuck his mother.
No, exactly. You're thinking, yeah, you gotta get that. You gotta cut that guy out as soon as possible. This kid turned out wrong. Sorry, what kid? Never seen him in my life.
I had a kid when?
Yeah.
God.
I'll be playing CK3. I walk the disinherit option as quick as possible. I'm like, I gotta get some of these kids out of my fucking bloodline.
You need to yeet them out of here instantly. Sorry, I was deep in the search for the famous Hasbro jaw that I guess the last progenitor was
Dynasty.
Yeah, the fucking
those guys are hilarious. I love Austria.
Whoops.
Oh man, all right, here's the family tree. I have it up on stream right now. Let's see how. Oh man, yeah, it really just it is a reef. Wow. So it starts out with Philip the First, and then he has 3 children, and then they start to marry back into each other, and it just like through
pretty
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Literally 2 generations.
You could consider him the 8th generation of inbreeding that led to Charles II looking just like that.
Very cool.
Good lord. That's fucking terrifying. Yeah. What else? We never talked about the big Resident Evil witch lady.
Yeah, can you play the YouTube link I added in the text real quick?
Where did you put it?
Literally,
it's the text below makes me go.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Which makes me go.
Sure, I will put this in.
I've been waiting for the completion of this joke this entire.
Thank you, Jacob. That was very cool. It was a very, very fun little thing right there. Yeah, people are I saw something really cursed that also perfectly summarized this kind of craze, is that somebody did the recreation of that JoJo pose of like "you're approaching me" with Lady Demiscu from Resident Evil and fucking what was it, Bowsette, I think. Yeah, right, that was yeah, it's just those two facing off against each other.
My big hot vampire
monster woman,
who's now canonically.
For that, but I want to keep this discussion as PG as possible.
I don't. I think we crossed that line a long time ago.
Does warn me that this podcast is rated for mature audiences.
This is true.
I just keep that on all the time because I'm not gonna fucking censor myself. What was it?
Did Capcom actually confirm that she pegs a character at some point?
No, that one's fake. Okay. It's real that they confirmed that she's 9'6" tall, which already apparently sent people over the edge. But no, the pegging is not real.
I never took the time to actually verify if that was real or not. But I was just like thinking, I'm like,
I'm sure we could find you another game if that's what you're looking for.
No, I'm just saying, did some person on Twitter working at a company? My thing is, at this point, I'm ready to believe that anyone will say any dumb shit on Twitter, even if they're working for a big company.
They'll just get themselves fired for some dumb shit.
Yeah.
But what a way to go out.
Yeah, man, you'd be popular. You wouldn't be able to land a job in your industry anymore, but man,
what do you mean?
Clout.
Yes, you would, but for different companies.
Oh man. Yeah. All right. So yeah, Resident Evil Big Witch Lady.
All the child molesters in Nickelodeon, they got fired and then rehired. So,
what?
Where is Dan Schneider nowadays?
Dan Schneider took a creative they split for creative differences.
He parted ways in 2018.
Yeah.
Good.
It's like
Nickelodeon.
But Nickelodeon has had like a history of like this person got found out as a child molester and got fired, and then like by the time they finish doing whatever time they need to do, they come back. Rehired.
Are you saying that Hollywood and also a lot of big companies just shuffle people around instead of actually ever having them face the repercussions for their actions?
Kind of crazy.
Big if true.
That is kind of wild. Why did I cut back when I was just about to sneeze? That was a terrible decision. Anyways, yeah. I mean, it's sad, but I'm not surprised that fucking Dan hide your feet Schneider is probably not going to face any repercussions for his actions.
It was so weird because I remember people talking about that, and then they asked the actors, and it was one of those things where the actors go, in retrospect, now that you start mentioning some of these things,
I mean, fucking Jeanette McCurdy freaking lost it, didn't she? Oh, yeah. She was like posting weird vines and TikToks about it for a while, or some weird shit like that. Like, it was, I don't know. It just was so weird that it just basically turned into an open secret, and then nothing happened.
but it's one of the like, it's the same thing as what was going on with the actors. The actors as well as us were kids, so we didn't have the developed frontal lobe to put two and two together, and then
no 8-year-old goes, "Oh, that man's jacking off to my feet."
Also, no parent is sitting around and being like, "Yeah, let me watch this fucking pay attention to this Dan Schneider show on Nickelodeon with my kid." No, they're just like, just watch it. It's fucking iCarly.
Right.
And then we grew up and we're like, I want to go back and check out one of my favorite shows, iCarly. And then you sit there with your new frontal lobe that's developed,
fully developed.
Monkey brain picking up on things. Oh no.
Oh no! Please unsee. I'm begging you.
What the fuck is Seraphine and parasocial relationships?
Parasocial relationship is a relationship you form with someone you haven't really met. The best example of this is like any online personality.
Oh, so like Hatsune Miku, that kind of shit?
Not even just that. Like, literally name a streamer that you watch.
Oh, okay. And then like people who get like
This League
attached
of
to.
Legends shit.
I mean, it's not even just that. It's that you can have a like a parasocial relationship can be to various extents.
Yeah.
Right.
Like
It's just
you-
like it's
you
like a
will
one
form
side
a
like you
connection
form an
with-
attachment with someone who doesn't even know you exist, essentially.
Yeah,
Or is not even real.
like I would argue that Rooster Teeth as a company thrives off of parasocial relationships, which
mean,
isn't
most
necessarily
online
inherently bad, but
Well, I
it
mean,
is
that's just-
definitely
I think that's just all entertainment media in general. Like they want you to relate and want
Yeah.
you to.
Well,
feel
almost
yeah.
like they
There's a
hire
difference
kids that are
between,
so,
like-
iCarly, because then you relate to the kids on iCarly and form a parasocial relationship with
Right.
that
Yeah.
person on the TV.
Yeah.
But there's
I-
definitely a difference between like, oh, I'm watching an actor on TV, haha,
Yes.
this is funny, versus like, I'm donating thousands of dollars to this
Right.
bot.
Well,
Yeah.
that's
Right.
why we had to, start being like actually
Well, did you
spending
just
a
say
lot of
thought?
time
We might get
researching
banned.
parasocial relationships, so that because it used to not be that you can literally contact the people you were
Yeah.
admiring.
Right. Yeah. It did. It
24/7.
literally just wasn't a term that we needed to have in our vocabulary because it basically wasn't possible to really
No one
effectively have.
was jacking it to George Lucas's form letter that they got back after sending him fan mail about Phantom Menace.
I mean, even that
I don't know.
George Lucas is someone who arguably has one of the biggest, I wouldn't say the biggest, but at least in my fucking brain, like one of the biggest parasocial relationships with his fan base, even going back to when
Yeah.
he starts, and that's in a pre-internet era,
Mhm.
because George is literally the creator of Star Wars, and he was very open about him being associated with Star Wars and basically built his quote unquote brand around Star Wars. And he would have people fucking writing mail, calling him up, being like, George, it's 1995. Where's the new Star Wars? Give
But
us
that's
more.
my point. Did those people get back like the same gratification, I guess?
Yeah,
that they
it's not
would
like
now?
George
don't
Lucas
think
then
it's
calls
a
them
similar
back.
level.
Like,
Like,
yeah,
that's
like
the difference. Is that George could very easily find ways to cut those people out.
Yeah.
yeah.
You can't do that as much anymore.
Well,
if you want to
especially-
if you want to engage with the internet as publicly as you usually
Yeah,
are.
like what again, going back to the whole Rooster Teeth thing, it's very much like, hey, we're on a podcast, we're hanging out. Thank you guys for watching. And they will like sometimes, especially with their main Rooster Teeth podcast, they'll keep the chat open on the side. And that's the same with all the Twitch streamers. It's like you are directly interacting with the chat in that way.
It
Part of that
is easier
too-
to form a stronger parasocial relationship than it was before, because now you can physically see them, you can verbally interact with them.
Yeah.
in
But
a real
that also adds into the donation incentive. The reason why these people are donating so much money is because that guarantees that they get that attention they crave in their parasocial relationship, right? Like, especially if they donate big money, they're like, "Oh, the streamer is going to be extra excited now."
Right. Yeah. What I feel like in reality though, a lot of times streamers are just like they can't say it, so they have to act, or they not act necessarily, but like
They definitely act like I think for sure some streamers act like, because like think about the big streamers, right? Like I feel like when they get like $100 donation, that's like normal for them, but they have to act like $100 is a big deal.
I guess. I don't know. I feel like in the back of their minds, it's just like, holy shit, why is this person donating so much? Like, that's what I would feel like if anybody
I'd
did
say-
some
but
crazy shit like that.
I mean, yeah, but I think about like the top 1% like of like Twitch streamers, like $100 donations are not that uncommon for them if you think
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah, that's true. I don't
Like
know.
you'll see like their top donator box, and you'll see like fucking like 2K, 3K, like, and I'm like, and that's for the month. Like just some dude was like, I'm gonna dump 3K into this stream.
Yeah. I don't. There's like, yeah, it just.
I mean,
it's-
so, but that's like the positive and negative, because I'm someone who appreciates the way that ease of access to donations and basically paying what is essentially a freelance worker for doing something like that is,
Right.
I think,
I don't mind donations. I think it's fine to
No,
donate
I
to support
understand
a
what you're
streamer.
saying. Yeah. But I'm saying like it is part of it is a side effect of a larger system that I think is I mean, that is why I always appreciate it when streamers go out of their way to be like,
Yeah.
like
Just talk with everyone.
Yeah, I mean, I think the streamer's doing their job correctly. I don't think the streamer's doing anything wrong per se. Like, I think it's fine that they act excited, because obviously that person who donated $100 really is invested in this stream.
Yeah.
But like, there is some people who do that for that, because I'm just talking like in terms of like the parasocial relationship. They do it because they want to get that feedback of I want to see my streamer excited about me. Because they have this like one-sided relationship.
Yeah.
Curious to see how things will develop. Like, I wonder if that culture is going to evolve over. I mean, I guess it's been evolving.
Think it will.
So,
like, you also have to understand that it's such a new thing.
Yeah.
I mean,
but I mean, like, it seems like it's just becoming more and more common. Like, OnlyFans is so popular right now, and a lot of that is just that idea of I get my personal attention when I donate this money, or I give this money every month, right?
Yeah. I mean,
like I think
I could pay $5 a month to interact with a porn star.
I'm gonna pull the card that I feel like gets pulled in the media industry so many times, but like sometimes porn just hasn't figured out first. Like, there is a reason that cam girl porn has basically lived on in every iteration of of technology, and it is because there will always be people who want to pay to have
a direct interaction.
And that's basically what Twitch found out in a non-sexual way.
Right.
Well, I wouldn't say non-sexual.
In a
slightly less sexual.
Less sexual way.
Oh man, what was that? What's that site that Lowell keeps linking?
Our male streamers.
Oh, not
what is it called?
I know the one you're talking about, Nick.
Yeah, and exactly like that. The existence of that website is like a full circle of like literally. Camgirl influences the existence of Twitch. Twitch influences the existence of this new site, which is literally just camgirls playing video games. like that's it's.
Bro, I love that. What was it? Like the Plex stream platform that is just like straight up porn video. It's porn Twitch.
Okay. Yes. Yeah. That thing. The one time I fucking clicked on it, there was a girl who had a set. She was playing Roller Coaster Tycoon 2, but she was just jerking. No, she did. The game was paused, and she was just jerking it. She was just jilling it off, like she wasn't even playing the game.
What, you ain't never paused in the middle of Roller Coaster Tycoon to jack?
Nah, I can't say I have personally. I'm sorry.
What is a roller coaster but phallic imagery?
Exactly.
I personally can't understand how anybody like either gets off to or like what are you supposed to even watch the game? Why are you're not watching the game? So why is there a game there to begin with?
Not related to the Plex one, relate this directly, but there are some people who go on OnlyFans and they're not jerking it, but they still pay. It's like a weird. It's the parasocial thing.
Well, there's a lot of people on OnlyFans that don't do explicit stuff.
But I'm saying even with the sexual content creators, there will just be people that are just. They're like, I hope you have a nice day, or like, but they want that interaction.
Yeah.
I mean, it's literally the thing, and I hate that I have to use this example because Catching the Rye is literally a book that I don't want to talk about. But it's literally that part of Catching the Rye.
I've actually never read it, so
I have no
idea what you're referencing.
It's kind of worth reading.
There's a part in Catching the Rye where the main character hires a prostitute and basically just talks to her for a bit.
Oh yeah, I've seen that. Like
that trope is used in a lot of media. Catcher in the Rye is just the one that comes to my mind when I think of that media trope. But it's just like people don't want to talk to a therapist about things, even though that's their job, and so they search for, but they still need to talk to someone about it. and so they will literally search for. It's kind of that saying, like if you need something, you will go out of your way to get that thing. Uh, and so it's basically that. Like I need
Well,
someone to talk to, and I don't have anyone to talk to, and I am paying you, and so now you technically it's your job to technically talk to me now. Like,
yeah, it's like I mean I think it's like as far as like a social construct type deal where obviously we associate like sex with like the most intimate parts of our lives, right?
Yeah.
And so then we also associate divulging these serious life issues with like because that stuff is also intimate. So you're like your brain is like, oh, intimate and intimate, same thing. So therefore, me hire a sex worker to talk about my problems with because that's apparently the same, even though it's definitely not.
it's a metaphor.
Yeah. Sure. But yeah, we're gonna have Shinzo Abe's problem on our hands everywhere eventually, where everybody's just like, I don't need to talk to form real relationships. I'll just have all these parasocial ones.
As someone who spent time had part of his economics teaching involve population in developing and versus developed countries, like it turns out when you are more well off, you don't need kids to fill the like
You can fill your time with other things.
you typically end up wanting less kids because you have other things to spend your time on. I mean, there's a plethora of other reasons, and also like a lot of this is tied to social safety nets, and how much you can invest in yourself in your old age and all of that, and a bunch of other stuff. But yeah, like if you don't if your country is in a spot where you don't need have an absolute need for more people in the next generation to help increase the population and thereby demand in your country, then you're typically going to go, wow, having a lot of kids is hard. Like I don't even know where
yeah, I don't know. I don't know if this conversation is really going anywhere at all. It's just an interesting topic, the development of parasocial relationships as a concept. Whereas, like, I don't think that term even when did that term even come into existence? It probably wasn't. I don't think it was a thing 10 years ago. I'm willing to put that.
It was definitely a thing 10 years ago. But I'm just trying to remember when it officially. Yeah. The term was coined by, this is the Wikipedia page, so it could be wrong. I'm just letting you know where I'm getting this information from. The term was coined by Donald Horton and Richard Wohl in 1956, which makes sense because the television.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that does make sense. Yeah.
Nick, are you aware you spelled Buscemi wrong?
I spelled Buscemi wrong, and I didn't attempt to fix it.
Where are you calling me out for this? Oh, in the doc.
Just like talking about Spy Kids 2 in general, or just?
Oh no,
he's just complaining about lockdown.
Other topics, but then I could only write about the topics in funny ways. So the topic was going to be about lockdown fatigue, but then I was like, how do I make this funny? And I said, do you think God stays up in heaven because he too is unmotivated as a result of lockdown fatigue? And then I quoted Steve Buscemi, Spy Kids 2.
Gotcha.
And I laughed to myself, and now I'm reading it to you guys now.
And you know what? It gave me a good chuckle too, Jacob. So mission accomplished.
I'm glad.
You done did it.
I'll accept my medal in the mail.
I don't know if any of you guys watch or care about WandaVision, but something crazy did just happen, like in yesterday's episode.
I watched it all last night.
I have not watched much or any one. I've only watched like bits and pieces.
I thought the first 2 episodes were kind of disappointing.
No, they were cool. Like the whole.
I just didn't like them very much.
Yeah, can I think? I can't remember.
I'm like a weirdo who, instead of getting into the new Marvel stuff, I'm like, what if I go back and watch Daredevil for the first time?
I mean, not a bad decision.
That's still new Marvel stuff, kind of.
I mean,
Daredevil is
it's
cool.
not like Daredevil's how old at this point? Like season 1 Daredevil, I should say.
5 years.
And there is no time or space anymore. Fuck me.
Yeah, 2015. 5
Wow.
years.
That's pretty old at this point.
I guess, but I mean, you're not really watching old Marvel until you go back to the 1990s Avengers movie or whatever that was.
I guess I should say I'm referencing like since the beginning of like the new cinematic.
Yeah.
Old new Marvel.
Before they were like, hey, I know we just spent the last half decade shitting on the TV division of Marvel by giving them no funding and no new shows, but what if we just dissolved you and gave you to Kevin Feige? And you're like, dude, this is fucked.
But it's good though. The new shit, this WandaVision. Oh man, I wish I could talk. You gotta keep watching it. It's what happened yesterday was fucking insane.
Yeah,
people
I'm up to
keep telling
date.
me that about Marvel.
No,
shows,
I know, but Jacob said he
I mean,
hasn't seen all of it.
my big issue with WandaVision is like I have zero investment in either character, Vision or Wanda.
Well, that's
like,
the weird thing about it is that it retroactively, like this is how I described it to other people who were starting to watch it, is like this show is retroactively giving character development and like relationship development to these two characters who really could have used it before Infinity War, where like a big plot point and like some emotional beat was supposed to be Wanda has to kill Vision in order for Thanos to not get the fucking Mind Stone. But then since they hadn't developed it at that point, it's just like, oh, okay, I guess this is happening now.
I remember seeing like Wanda and Vision in the movies and being like, I don't care about these characters at all.
Right.
Like Vision especially.
The
like,
movies don't care about the characters either.
Yeah.
I was like, I saw
watching,
Vision dying and I'm like, well, I mean, you should have just killed him so we could get, prevent Thanos from doing anything. I don't know why.
But Captain America says no. We don't take lives or whatever. We don't.
I'm glad that the show seems to actually be fleshing out their relationship because the scene that actually makes me think about whenever I think about the Marvel power couple of Wanda and Vision is the scene from Civil War where Vision like hits on Wanda and then I threw up in the theater and I was like, this is disgusting. Why did someone write this?
Yeah, no,
Though I don't know. Even with like the show's fine, it's good, but I find myself caring more about literally everyone else.
I know.
There was only like one episode I kind of watched a little bit in, and like there's like I don't know what the actress's name is, but she's like the smart hacker lady who figures out how to talk to Wanda.
Oh,
the thick one from Thor.
Yes, yo,
Kat Dennings.
Yeah,
on that one by me again, my guy.
But no. But
Lowell made the same exact comment. Lowell's just like, yeah, Kat Dennings got a fat rack on her, and then I couldn't notice anything else in the most recent episode.
No, but actually though, like
I mean, she was on that show.
But actually, like my actual point was like I thought like in the 10 minutes I watched of that show, she was like by far the most interesting character.
I got you.
She and the Asian FBI.
Like whenever I saw Wanda on screen, I was like, I don't care at all. But then like I felt like her character was much more interesting. I don't know.
I love how like they wanted to bring back. I don't remember that actor's name either, but the one you were talking about, Jack, the Asian FBI agent. He was.
Randall Park. Jim.
Yes, I think Randall Park is the one. And he was introduced in Ant-Man and the Wasp as like fucking Department of Human Services or whatever, like to make sure that he kept his Ant-Man kept his fucking like ankle bracement on or whatever. And then they just upgraded him to FBI between those two shows. Like, damn, all right, you got a hell of a promotion, buddy. It's pretty good. But yeah, I don't know. Definitely, I think it has made me care more about them at the very least, which is more than I can say about all of the other times they've been in the movies. So that's
Look, all I'm saying is that other than like Pepper Potts and Tony, Marvel hasn't really been hitting it out of the park.
No. Marvel romance has always been the weakest part of all of their movies, pretty much. I would say maybe Gamora and Peter Quill has been fun at least,
and that's a big maybe.
Yeah, that's a big maybe. Yeah. Their relationship is very missed for me.
Fair enough.
But even I don't know.
Like I'm just like because they don't in the movies they don't have enough time to flesh out that relationship. Is
Well,
my
because,
biggest
because it
like
feels
I'm
like
supposed to
they're
believe that they
embarrassed.
like suddenly
Like,
start giving a shit about each other so fast. I'm like,
yeah, they
especially
feel
Gamora,
so
who like came out
embarrassed.
as like an assassin that just hates everything, and she's just like, yeah, this guy's got some sick beats on his fucking track player.
No, she just saw him. She just saw him half naked, and she was like, "Damn, the guy from Parks and Rec did that. All right."
Bro.
They stuff so much like shit into those movies.
Yeah. They try to do everything at once, and I think they can make some things work, but it comes at the cost of making other things not work, and it makes you kind of wish they just focused on the other things more.
The only one that kind of works for me as well is the Ant-Man and the Wasp relationship, not because of how it's written, but because it's Paul Rudd, and I do like seeing Paul Rudd on screen. And I go, yes, if I was in that position, I too would kiss Paul Rudd.
The only MCU relationship worth caring about is Paul Rudd and his daughter.
Yeah,
That is
well,
true.
that's because his daughter is the best actor in the MCU.
Oh man, yeah. We are almost at cut time. Do you guys want me to do a little presentation about what I've discovered about Star Wars: The Force Unleashed for Nintendo Wii, Xbox 360, and PS3?
Go for it.
So this is actually something I alluded to it before the podcast as well, but just to reiterate, this is something I made for a friend of mine's birthday today, where they asked people to make short little presentations on whatever they wanted to. And so for my thing, I discovered that there's a lot of connections between a certain game and a certain other game series. So basically, my thesis is The Force Unleashed is a ripoff, and so Star Wars: The Force Unleashed is a action game from 2008 that lets you play as a super powerful Force user, right? He fucking is. He gets 2 lightsabers in the second game. He shares a name with that stupid base from Episode 7. That's just a bigger Death Star.
Yeah, I just wasn't clear on this. So you're saying this is not the giant space
planet cannon?
The edgy boy that you see before you is not, in fact, the same as the planet-sized base on which they exterminate the New Republic in The Force Awakens. Just to be clear.
Spoilers.
See, I totally understand it, but like I understand that his name is Starkiller, but I'm still confused. So you're saying that this is not
the big red thing.
No, it's not. Anyways, it got average reviews. It got a wonky sequel, and generally has been forgotten by the public. More so now that it's been decanonized. Thanks, Disney.
I think about it every year.
I'll go to sleep and I will go, shh, Starkiller, when will you return?
My thing is, this guy's a really shitty. Why would you wield your lightsabers backwards like that? You're just.
What do you fucking mean? Ahsoka Tano does it, and nobody gives her shit.
I give her shit too, bro. You're reducing your reach. You're supposed to go pokey from far.
It's a fucking form. It's a fucking different form. It's a different fighting style. Anyways,
I'm gonna open up the art book again, boys. I'm gonna prove to you.
Recently, it occurred to me that there are a lot of similarities between this game and another series, which I think might be too much to be considered coincidence.
Yeah, I always knew that Force Unleashed ripped off Kingdom Hearts.
Here we go. No, you're close, but The Force Unleashed steals story, gameplay, and characters whole cloth from Sonic Adventure 2 and Shadow the Hedgehog.
Shut up.
Oh, I remember you briefly telling me this.
I hate
crazy.
Yeah, I think we had that spawned this whole thing.
I literally played both of these video games.
These are the same game. So let me make my case here. All right.
The edgy protagonist.
So we got the edgy protagonist. So in The Force Unleashed,
and now they're going deeper down the rabbit hole.
In The Force Unleashed, Starkiller.
In The Force Unleashed?
No, he does not get a gun. All right, but you have to hear me out. All right. You do not get a gun. Your Jedi dad gets murdered and he's replaced by Vader. In Shadow the Hedgehog, you're created as a weapon of ultimate destruction, but then given humanity via a childhood friend who is then also murdered and replaced by a very evil military that stands in as the motivator to make him evil. And then over the course of the game, they can they turn good in the final act. Specifically, Shadow turns good in the final act of Sonic Adventure 2 when he sacrifices himself to save humanity because of his influence by Maria, and then Starkiller fucking explodes at the end of The Force Unleashed to stop the Emperor, I guess.
Spoilers.
I don't really
I can't
remember
believe
what happens
Patty
because he
ripped
didn't
off
destroy the
Sonic
Death
Adventure.
Star, but he was on the Death Star as it was under construction. He fought the
Nick,
Emperor and then he like died, I guess.
If the player chooses the light side, Starkiller
Yeah.
defeats the Emperor but spares him at Kota's
I do
urging.
have a
Blah
critique
blah
for this
blah.
presentation. You pick the Jedi where he's like dark brooding and evil, and then you put Shadow in Casino Royale, baby.
Because I couldn't not choose the scene where he says, "Where's that damn fourth Chaos Emerald?" Also, why do they he definitely enunciates "damn" and not "fourth," but they capitalize "fourth" for some reason. I don't know why. That's just a complete separate
Because
rant.
children don't know how to count, so how would you know it's the
You're right.
fourth Chaos
You're right.
Emerald?
Anyways, so both of them actually die ambiguously at the end of their first game outing, and then they return in Force Unleashed 2. He returns as a clone, and then in Shadow's standalone game, he also returns as a clone? ? Both of them are kind of vague about it, and then both of them also have the option to become evil. So Starkiller can actually choose to kill the Emperor, and then he fails. But then
If
the
you
Emperor
choose the
turns.
dark side, you actually explicitly live.
Yeah, you definitely survive, and then you go on a fucking rant. You basically turn into the new Darth Vader because you kill Darth Vader.
But you're better.
Yeah,
you're
but you're
better
better
at doing
and you
bad-
fuck up way more people. You kill Obi-Wan, you kill Chewie, you kill some other people from the original trilogy,
Wait,
and then
okay,
you
so my
turn.
I've never played these games, so when you kill Obi-Wan, do you have the high ground?
Yeah, God damn it, shut up. And then Shadow the
I'm
Hedgehog
asking
also has the
serious
option to
question.
become super evil.
Obi-Wan is
So
unbeatable unless you take the high ground.
yeah,
Nick,
you
Nick,
got me
I
there.
would like to point out
Yeah.
that you can make them good or evil in the standalone game,
Yes.
but you're explicitly you're connecting multiple games.
Yeah, that's why I said that's why I connected the Force Unleashed games to Sonic Adventure 2 and Shadow the Hedgehog. Also, though you say that, but in the Force Unleashed 2, you can also choose to be evil at the end, and then you die again.
Right, Nick, I've never played a game where I can choose a good person ending or an evil person ending. I've never done that. I've never played as a bad guy with a redemption.
Okay, all right,
I've
sure.
never
Maybe
done
multiple games have allowed you to do that, but hear me out. It goes on. There's more. Okay, so we also now we need to go on to our second point of evidence: the supporting cast. All right. So in both games, we have a father figure only lightly used to motivate their transition to good. So in The Force Unleashed, you've got Kento Merrick, who's murdered by Darth Vader, but was a Jedi and was a good dude. That imbued his son with belief in good in the universe. And then in Shadow the Hedgehog, you have Gerald Robotnik, who everybody thinks is super evil until
Character stereotypes.
But there's so many of them, and they're all the same. They're all the same. Fucking Gerald is thought to be evil for most of the game, but then at the end, it turns out that he was actually trying to save humanity, and that he believes that Shadow was his son, and that he cared for him deeply.
Also, Sonic racist. Why is it Black Doom?
Oh, you don't want to go into that. It's so bad. It's so bad in Shadow the Hedgehog.
Black Doom. Damn.
Yeah. Anyway, so then you also have the main antagonist that's also the mentor to the protagonist and clad in all black, which is Darth Vader and Black Doom. And then you have a love interest who is female and blonde, and heavily influences their transition to good, dies for character development, which is Juno Eclipse.
I like that you needed to put blonde in there.
I'm just surprised that both of them are like just white blonde women that they have.
That is such an uncommon female protagonist. Blonde.
Okay, and then we also have the quirky allies that also push them towards being good.
So I'm glad we reached this point because this is what got me mildly upset. You really gonna tell me that you're relating Proxy to Eggman or Sonic the Hedgehog? I was like the blonde girl one is like, all right, sure, whatever. You saw that coincidence and you're seeing the numbers. And all right, but you're literally coming out here being like, all right, so there's the comedic sidekick robot, and he's, you know who he reminds me of? Sonic the Hedgehog.
Or would you have preferred if I compared them to fucking Chaotix in Shadow the Hedgehog? Like,
I would prefer to you fucking compared him to fucking Tails. Like, literally anyway.
I don't know. Tails doesn't really appear in Shadow's interactions in those games too much.
Tails at least is closer to what Proxy is and does.
No, but Tails is closer to Proxy if you're talking about Sonic. But this is not. I'm not comparing fucking Starkiller to Sonic. I'm comparing Starkiller to Shadow the Hedgehog. Okay. Listen. Anyways, so we have all of those coincidences, which is already starting to really add up. But I think the most damning point is that we've got these two characters, right? Thank you for the resub, Nando. Appreciate it. In Force Unleashed, the main gimmick is that Starkiller's powers take what we know about the Force offensively and taking it to ridiculous levels. He can do shit that literally no other Jedi or Sith has ever been capable of, and then, like, over the course of the game, it gets even more fucking wild. He's just stupid strong with the Force, and that's just how it is. In Sonic Adventure 2, Shadow the Hedgehog is introduced as the ultimate life form, who can harness the power of the Chaos Emeralds to perform feats that Sonic is incapable of, and again, by the time he's in his standalone game, he can just go even further beyond.
Nick, I want you to think about how many games slowly increase your ability throughout the game.
No, I know slowly increase, but they both are introduced as like edgy characters that can fucking do things that nobody else can, and then they just get even more insane.
Ripped off Dragon Ball Z. I can't believe they've done it. They've gone even further beyond in the copyright.
Look, I just want you to watch these two clips and just tell me where the difference is, because I cannot see it. Okay.
Clips.
All right, here we go. So here we go. Here's a scene in fucking Force Unleashed 2. Where you're on this planet, and your only way to escape is blocked by this giant Star Destroyer. So what does Starkiller decide to do? He literally pulls a fucking entire-ass Star Destroyer out of the goddamn sky with his bare, like, just himself and his fucking Force abilities. Nobody before or after this game in Star Wars canon has ever been able to do some bullshit like this, okay?
That's literally not true.
It is! Who else has done shit like this?
There's shit in Legends that's like more ridiculous than this.
And a bunch of like aliens came out of the dark side of the galaxy and launched a moon at fucking Chewbacca. They can do whatever the fuck they want.
Listen, okay, I didn't do that much into research into fucking Star Wars Legends for this, alright? All I'm saying is that this shit is fucking ridiculous.
Nick, you're literally doing the fucking conspiracy.
Well, I'm having fun with it, okay? And then, all right. So we have this shit where he does this insane shit. He gets away with it.
And then, like, what kind of idiot pulls down a starship right at his face?
He didn't have much of a choice, I don't think. He was barely keeping it like controlled as it was. And then in fucking Shadow the Hedgehog, he turns into Super Shadow, which is already an amazing feat, and then he uses his fucking Chaos Control powers to teleport a fucking country-sized planetoid object into space.
I already saw this one in
How is this the same ability though? This is
it's the same level of fucking insane power level. Is my point.
This guy struggled to be like, yeah, shit, come down. This guy's like, zoop, we're bringing this out the fucking.
Okay, well, there was a lot of game before this that I'm just showing you the last cutscene.
Ignoring that these clips only go back to the same coincidence Jack and I got on Nick's case earlier for, which is, wait, you're telling me at the climax of the story, the character went beyond the original power level we thought he had to achieve something we didn't think possible until then?
Alright, fuck you guys.
This is just how storytelling works, Nick.
He did One for All, 1,000,000%, bro.
In conclusion, Starkiller is Shadow's Human Sona, and LucasArts should be paying royalties to Sega for copying so many ideas from games that came out 3 to 7 years
Force
prior.
Unleashed is an uninspired game.
Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. Ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for joining me on Horsin' Around. I have to go. So thank you for watching. Fuck you guys. This is an amazing presentation. And I will not take criticism. But thank you for joining me.
Listen,
And
I'm so mad you put Shadow in a fucking
Human
casino.
Sona? Fuck you.
stay safe and peace out.